Hey guys, so today we're going to talk to you about sparring. We often get asked when's the right time to start, when should I start to implement it in my training regime. Brett, what's your experience on this and what's the feedback you provide to our members?
Well, I guess, Dave, on that question, I wouldn't be jumping in and sparring whatsoever until I've got a good understanding around the basics of striking and defenses.
Is there an element of, maybe I'm doing the boxing fundamentals class and I feel pretty comfortable on the pads that I would then go and jump straight into sparring? Or is there something that you'd recommend to help bridge that gap to start with, like some partner drills?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be partaking in our box set classes and getting a good understanding around partner drills. This way, you can bridge that gap and you can start implementing that into our novice sparring as well.
So we talk about it a lot here, but our members mightn't have a good understanding. There's technical sparring and then there's hard sparring. What's the difference? What can I expect from both? And is there one that I should probably start with first?
So the one I'd start with first would definitely be technical sparring. We're basically keeping our hands open the whole time. We're not looking to hurt. We're keeping about, I guess, let's say about a 20% sort of effort behind your punches. You're not trying to hit too hard. Then compared to hard sparring as well, every shot's not going to be hard, right? You're working on tempo, but there are some shots that obviously you're going to be loading up on and really trying to, drive in.
So I guess for someone that's new and looking at jumping into sparring, that technical sparring would allow them to feel a little bit more confident to take what maybe they've learned in the class setting, pad work or partner drills, and implement it into a live sparring situation without fear of making a mistake and getting hurt. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because as I said before, you're working at about a 20% work rate. Okay, so you can afford to make mistakes. You can learn from those mistakes without actually getting hurt. Okay, I guess in a hard sparring environment, unfortunately, when you do make a mistake, a lot of the time you're going to pay for that mistake. So being able to sort of implement that in your tech sparring first and then bridging the gap over to your hard sparring is definitely the way I'd be going about it.
So if I'm a member, I've got some 10-ounce Jim Bradley gloves that my dad had from 1980. They've got no padding left. Is that going to be okay for me to spar in, or is there certain equipment I need?
Mate, I went to grab the mic off you early because absolutely not. 16-ounce gloves, every single time you spar, technical sparring, hard sparring, doesn't matter. 16-ounce gloves. You'll also need a mouth guard and a suitable headgear that actually fits your head.
What do you mean? Fit your head, like can't be half hanging off or it's too loose? Yeah.
Right.
All right, cool. Is there any sort of etiquette in sparring? Like I've seen, previously when I guess a beginner jumps into that environment, they may feel like they've made a hard contact and put their hands down and apologize. Like, is that something we're doing? If someone picks up the intensity and I feel uncomfortable, am I driving that intensity back or am I saying, hey, coach, what percentage are we working at today? Like, what can we expect from an etiquette side of things?
So I guess first things first about sparring etiquette would be listening to what the coach says at the start, whether it's going to be tech sparring, hard sparring, and so on from there. Look, unfortunately, sometimes when we are tech sparring, somebody might accidentally hit too hard and whatnot. Okay, it doesn't mean that you go back and you try and hit them just as hard because it then ends up into a hard spar and it's not what we're doing. Okay. I guess another thing that I do notice a lot with novice sparring, coming into hard sparring and whatnot, when the coach gives, I guess, the student an instruction, okay, the last thing that you want to do is turn and look at your coach whilst the coach is giving the instruction because whilst you're turning your face, the other person's still punching, and you're just going to walk straight into a punch and you're not going to be ready for it. So,
It's not going to be pleasant.
no, that's right.
All right, there you go, guys. So if you've been thinking about starting sparring, we hope we gave you some insight on, what you should be looking to do prior and leading up into attending those classes. You always want to speak to Brett or one of the coaches on the floor too, just to make sure that they think that you're ready to go. You will need the right equipment. And you do want to choose the right class based on your experience. So it could be just as simple as going to the beginner's sparring on the weekend, a box tech class, and then advancing from there.